Hello and welcome to a 4th level fighter character creation video. Today we're going to create a new Traveler for Mongoose 2nd edition Traveler. I've got Miss Pick with me. We're going to make a character for some upcoming one-shots and potentially a campaign. And so when we create a Traveler, there's a few steps that we go through. The first one is to calculate characteristics, your strength, your dex, your endurance, intelligence, education, and your intellect. Education and social. Now you have a couple options. The main way to do this is to roll 2d6 and then you put them, you can do them in order, or you can put them in the places where you want them, or we're doing this on Foundry. I can just type in a chat code /UPP that'll give us a universal personal profile, and then you can just drag that onto your character sheet and it will automatically populate that. Now, Ms. Pick, do you want to do the how do you want to do this? Do you want to roll dice and then decide where they go? Do you want to just do the UPP and take what it gives you?
Yeah, we could just do the UPP.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and type in UPP, and this is the one you will get. That's actually a really good kind of average sort of player. I'll give you a choice. So we've got the top one or the middle one. Sometimes when you roll, you'll characteristics. Some people will give them with a boon, and then you'll take the better of the two. You'll discard the lowest die roll. So I'll let you choose one of these two. So this would be a strength of 6 or 7, a dex of 4 or 5, an endurance of 2, which is bad, or 7, but then an intelligence of 10 or 6, an education. Excuse me, intellect. I'm going to say intellect and intelligence interchangeably. An education of 8 or 8. And then a social standing of 2 or 6. So the top one is kind of a really sciencey sort of person that is probably a bit of an introvert. Their social skill is so low and their endurance is so low they probably don't get out much. A strong wind might, blow them over. The bottom one is kind of a general average. The total on the bottom one, it's a higher average, but you've got a few, at least that 10 is really high if you want a high intellect. But I'll let you choose which one you want to use.
I think I'll go with the bottom one.
The bottom one. So we should just drag that onto your sheet. Yep, it auto-populates it. And now I can go in and I can lock that so no changes can be made. But some changes are made during character creation, so we will wait. So the next thing you do is you choose background skills, and there's your education modifier +3, and your education modifier is a 0, so you will choose 3 background skills. And you will get these at level 0. And there's a few different ones that you can choose from. Let me pull up the list here. I'm using the 2022 book here for the 2022 update book. Let's find these background skills. So you can choose 3, and there's admin, animals, art, athletics, carouse, drive, electronics, flyer, language, mechanic, medic, profession, science, seafarer, streetwise, survival, and vac suit. So please choose 3 of those.
I will go with survival for 1.
Okay, survival. Got it.
I'll also take mechanic.
Mechanic, okay. And 1 more.
And I'll take athletics for the 3rd.
Athletics. Perfect. And you'll notice that with athletics, there are subcategories, so it gave you a 0 in all of those categories. Once you've got your background skills, you're 18 years old, and now it's time to decide what to do with your life. So you've got some options. This is your pre-career education. This is optional if you want to. You can try to go to university, or you can go into a military academy, and you have a choice there.
I'll go to university.
Okay. So when you go to university, you have to make a roll to see if you can even get in. So the entry, it's an education roll. You need a 6 or higher. And If your social is 9 or higher, you get a +1, which yours is not. So you need to make an education roll and get a 6 or higher to see if you can get in. So let's make a roll. And we need a 6 or higher. And you got a 5. Okay. Well, you know, it doesn't always work that way. If this is failed, you must immediately attempt entry into a career, and failing that, you're going to be drafted.
Okay.
However, you can attempt to go back to university in terms 2 and 3 if you want, but you will have a penalty to that. So, college wasn't your thing. What do you decide to do then?
So I have to go into a career?
Into a career.
What are my options?
Well, you could do anything. So there's a whole list of careers. I kind of talked to you ahead of time, and you were thinking maybe the Scout Services
Right.
as a career. So there's an agent. You can go into the Army, become a citizen, a drifter, an entertainer, a Marine, a merchant, go into the Imperial Navy, become a noble, be a rogue, a scholar, or a scout.
Yeah, I think I wanted to be a scout.
Okay, so let's just make some notes here. So in your first term, failed to get into college or into university. And you applied for Scout Services. Okay, so to get into the Scout Services, you can be one of 3, you can choose one of 3 different jobs. You can be a courier. You're responsible for shuttling messages and high-value packages around the galaxy. You can be a surveyor to visit border worlds and assess their worth, or you can be an explorer to go wherever the map is blank, exploring unknown and uncharted space.
I would like to be an explorer.
Excellent. So to get in to the Scout Services, you need to qualify, and it's an intellect roll. You need a 5 or higher, and you get a -1 for every previous career you've had. You haven't had any, so let's make that roll to see if you can get in. You need a, we're going to put it at 6, but you just need to get a 5 or higher, and you do not get into Scout Services. So let's modify that. You applied for Scout Services. You were turned down. So if you're turned down, your options become a little bit more limited. Do you want to be drafted, or do you want to become a space bum, a Dave Lister?
I'll be a drifter.
Drifter. Okay, and with Drifter, let me pull that up here. I got the PDF open as well. You can become a barbarian. You live on a primitive world without the benefits of technology. You can be a wanderer, where you're a space bum living hand-to-mouth in slums and spaceports, or you can be a scavenger. You work as a belter, like an asteroid miner, or on a salvage crew.
What was the second one?
A wanderer? You're
Yeah.
a space bum?
I'll go with that.
Okay, so then your assignment here is going to be wanderer. I'll put drifter. Wanderer. Oh boy. Wanderer. Okay, so as a drifter, you automatically get in. That's not one where you need to roll to qualify.
Okay, cool.
Now, the first thing that you will do, if this is your first term in a career, then you have what they call basic training. So instead of rolling for a skill, you get all the skills listed on the service skills table at level 0. And so the service skills table for Drifter, there's athletics, which you already have at 0, so that doesn't change. You've got melee unarmed. So let's add that to your character sheet. So we'll add melee unarmed, and that's going to be at 0. You will get as well recon, streetwise, stealth, and survival. So we'll give you recon, streetwise, stealth, and you already have survival.
Right.
Give you stealth. Perfect. Okay, so on subsequent careers, you'll pick one of the skills listed in there, but for basic training, since this is your first time, then you use your you get the other skills. Okay. So let's go to. You need to make a survival roll to see if you can stay in the. And you are a wanderer.
Yeah.
So to survive this for the next 4 years, you need to make an endurance and get a 7 or higher.
To survive?
Just to make it through 4 years without a mishap or
Okay.
without getting, killed.
Okay.
7 or higher. No.
Oh boy.
So we get to roll on the mishap table.
Okay.
So every career has its own table. We're going to roll a 1d6 and see what the mishap is here. And you get a 1. So we look at 1 on the mishap table, severely injured. So in Old Traveler, this is how you die during character creation.
Okay.
Severely injured. This is the same as a result of 2 on the injury table. Alternatively, you can roll twice on the injury table and take the lower result. So on the injury table, this is let's look at the injury table and see what we have here. Let me hold up the injury table. And so number 2 on the injury table is severely injured. Reduce 1 physical characteristic by 1d. Or you can roll twice on the injury table and take the lower result. Do you want to take severely injured? You'll roll a d6 and reduce 1 of your physical characteristics by that many points. Or do you want to roll twice and take the lower of the results?
I'll roll twice and take the lower.
Okay. So we got a 3 or a 6. You'll take the 3. Missing eye or limb.
Oh
So,
my gosh.
Are you missing an eye or a limb?
Oh, I'll do limb. That could be kind of
This
cool.
will reduce your strength or your dexterity by 2 points. Do you want to take your strength down to 5 or your dexterity down to 3?
I'll do strength down to 5.
Okay, and let's make a note of this in your history here. Severely injured while on the job. Which limb did you lose?
Oh, my left arm.
Okay. Now, you can receive some medical care. If you've been injured, then medical care may be able to undo some of these effects. Drifter is on this table. So you're going to roll 2d and add your rank. And your rank, you have no rank in here. So you're going to roll 2d, and we'll see if maybe someone has pity on you. 7, and for a drifter, a 7 is 0%.
Okay.
So so no one's going to help you. Now you can get like a bionic arm, but you're going to have to pay for that. So, and we'll get into that when we muster out. Right. So if you, wow, this is not going well for you. So,
and it's only term 1.
Only term 1. So this mishap will force you to leave the career. Unless otherwise stated. Let's see. Yeah, so you will have to leave the career. So then your only options at this point, well, and you'll lose the benefit roll for the current term. So your only options at this point is to go in for the draft.
All right.
Want to go in for the draft?
Let's do it.
Okay. So there's a table or a chart that we will roll on. Let me put in that you went in for the draft. Was drafted by, and let's roll a d6. And on the draft table, 1 is the Navy, the Imperial Navy.
Okay.
And it can be, you could be like the Sword Worlders Navy. We'll do the Imperial Navy. All right. Let's see. So let's go to your next turn. And you can stop whenever you like.
Okay.
So let's go to the Navy. Although you don't have much to your name at this point. All right. So if you are drafted, I believe you don't have to make a roll to qualify. Yeah, the draft is, you don't have to. So you'll be in the draft. Now you can be like a general crewman. You can try to become an officer on a ship of the line. You can be an engineer or a gunner or flight, which would be pilot training.
Oh, I'll try to do engineer maybe.
Okay, so let's get that Navy. Engineer. Okay. In the Navy, you need to make you'll get some benefits for going into the Navy. You pick one of the skills listed on the service skills table at level 0. And so you can pick pilot, vac suit, athletics, gunner, mechanic, or gun combat.
Pilot maybe?
Let's do pilot. Okay, you take pilot.
Cool.
And now you need to make that that survival roll to see if you can get through this.
Okay.
So as an engineer, your survival, you need a 6 or higher on your intellect. 6 or higher. Hey, you got an 11. So you do survive. So then we will roll on the events table to see what happens during those 4 years. The events table is 2 die 6. Let's go ahead and roll that. And we get a 9, which for the Navy, the 9 is you foil an attempted crime on board, such as mutiny, sabotage, smuggling, or conspiracy. You gain an enemy, but you also gain +2 to your next advancement roll in the Navy.
Cool.
So let's make a note of this on your character. Spent 4 years as an engineer in the Navy. And what did you foil? Foiled like a sabotage or a mutiny or
Let's
plot?
Let's go mutiny.
An attempted. On what ship? What were you on?
Oh. Well, I don't know. What do you think?
We call it the Calico.
Awesome.
On the Calico, and gained the attention of your superiors. +2 to next advancement. And gained an enemy. And what's your enemy's name?
Rufus.
Rufus. Was that his first name or last name?
First name.
And do you have a last name for Rufus?
No, do you have a suggestion?
Rufus Bywater.
Cool.
Okay. So now we can see if you do advance, you need an education 6 or higher, and you get a +2 on this. So let's see what we get here. Get a +2. You need 6 or higher. Yes, you do. So you receive a promotion, and so you go. You're now an able space hand. You gain mechanic 1.
Awesome.
Let's do your skill first. And so you already had mechanic, and so it goes to 1. If you already had 1, you get nothing. If you were 2, then you still stay at 2. It doesn't go up at all. But that was helpful for you. So let's add this on here. We'll change this. We're promoted to what did we say it was? Able space hand. Okay. Let's see. So you move to the next higher rank. Oh, you get an extra roll on any of the skill tables available for your career. So you can roll on either the personal development, you can roll on the service skills, or you can roll on the engineer table and get a new skill.
I'll roll on the engineer table.
Okay, so let's roll a d6. And you got a 6, which on the engineer table, the 6 is flyer.
Cool.
So gaining some good piloting skills. So let's grab flyer. Perfect. Okay. And then do you want to continue in the Navy, or do you want to muster out, or do you want to change careers?
I will continue in the Navy.
Okay. So to continue in the Navy, you I think you can get a commission. Let's see. No, you need a social of 8 or higher, so I don't think you can get a. Nope, you cannot get a commission in the Navy. But let's see about if you want to continue in there. So we'll make a survival roll and see where we get. And so as an engineer, your survival roll is an intellect 6 or higher. So we need a 6. And we get a 10.
Awesome.
So you continue in the Navy. We'll roll on the event table. and we get an 8 on the Navy event table. You get a skill too. I need to make sure I give you a skill. Do you want to choose a personal development, a service skill, or an engineer gunner skill?
I will do personal development this time.
Okay. And you got a 4, which on the Navy personal development, that is intellect +1.
Cool.
So let's grab this. Intellect +1, that goes up to 7, which will give you a, there we go. And your event was an 8. So in the Navy, an 8 is... Your vessel participates in a diplomatic mission. You can gain one of either Recon 1, Diplomat 1, Steward 1, or gain a contact. Recon 1, Diplomat 1, Steward 1, or gain a contact. You already have Recon of 0. You don't have Steward. You don't have Diplomat.
I'll do diplomat maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's put this in your history here. So use here again, Navy engineer. Spent 4 more years in the Navy, and your event was that you participated in a diplomatic mission, the Calico. Oh boy. To which you were integral. Excellent. Okay. And then you can try to advance in the Navy.
All right.
So your advancement is a education 6 or higher. Seven.
Nice.
So you advance. So your rank, you go from able space hand to petty officer 3rd class, and you get vac suit 1.
Cool.
So let's adjust that on here. And you'll get vac suit 1. Excellent. And now, do you want to continue in the Navy, or do you want to muster out? Do you want to change careers?
I'll keep going with the Navy.
Seems to be working well for you.
I know.
Now, let's see. Once you hit the age of 34, you have to start rolling for aging. But the start of... Right now you'd be 30, so you could do one more term, and then you wouldn't have to roll for aging.
Okay.
Let's do that. So you want to stick with the Navy?
Yes.
Okay, you need to make that survival roll. That is 6 or higher. Oops, sorry, that was intellect 6 or higher. Set that to a 6. Oh, yeah, you definitely
Nice.
stick with the Navy. You get to pick another skill, so you can choose a personal development, a service skill, one of your engineer skills.
I'll go personal development again.
Okay, let's roll a d6. And you get 2, which 2 on the personal development for the Navy is Dex +1.
Okay.
That's a good one for you because your Dex is low. I think this gets rid of your penalty. Yep, excellent.
Awesome.
So let's add this into your history. Let's add a term. Let's roll on the event table. And we get 5, which the Navy event table, 5 is you are given advanced training in a specialist field. Roll education 8 or higher to gain 1 level in any skill you already have. So let's do that. Can you get an 8 or higher? Yes, so in any skill you already have, you can you gain 1 level. 1 level, so it can go from a 1 to a 2, or nothing to a 0, or 0 to a 1. But any of the ones that you have that have a check mark next to them.
Okay, I will do. I'll go for maybe athletics.
So then you'll pick either Dex, Endurance, or Strength.
Okay. Strength, maybe.
That's a good choice because that way, if you have to do a Strength thing, you can hopefully use that and get a +1 instead of a -1.
Yeah, that's what I
in your
figured.
ability. Yeah. So let's put that in your history. That was a advanced training in a specialist field. What specialist field do you think that was?
Oh, what do you mean?
What specialist field would have given you that training?
I don't know. What do you think?
Well, it could be like a survival training or anything. It could even be like bodybuilding training or physical fitness.
Sure, I'll do bodybuilding.
Okay. And then you need to see if you can advance in your rank. So you need an education 6 or higher. No.
Ah.
So your career has kind of ground to a halt here. Oh, it didn't save this on here. Why is that? Let's fix this. Nope, nope, it's not what I want. The Navy received specialist. Oh boy. Training in athletics. Failed to advance. So your rank did not improve.
Okay.
Do you want to stick with the Navy? You're now going to be 34 years old. Do you want to decide, you know what, the Navy doesn't want me, I'm going to go become a traveler? Or do you push it and go one more term?
I think I'll kind of end it here. I'm in a good position, but I don't think I'll stick with the Navy.
Okay, so we need to roll on the aging table. So we roll 2d, and then we use the total number of terms as a negative dice modifier. So you've had 4 terms. So we minus 4 from this, and you got 10. So you have no effect. Your aging has no effect on you.
Okay, cool.
But you're going to muster out?
Yes.
Okay. Mustered out. Okay, so now we can get your mustering out benefits. Let me get this all set up here. Let's add, let's see, we had get some people here. Not that one. I'm gonna add your enemy was Rufus Bywater. Let's add an enemy. Okay, so when we muster out, we have to make some rolls to see what sorts of benefits that you get. So let me grab the mustering out section. If for your leg that was damaged,
I think it was my arm.
or your arm that was damaged, you lost lost your left arm. Do you remember how many points it was that you lost?
Ooh, I do not.
I think it was 1.
Okay.
You lost 1 point. So if you want to get that repaired, it will cost you $5,000. Do you want to get that repaired?
Do I even have that much money?
Well, you can go into debt for it. So here's medical debt.
Okay, I'll go with it.
Okay, so $5,000 debt, because now you're going to start getting some money as you muster out of the Navy.
Okay.
So let's get to the mustering out. So when you leave a career, you get 1 benefit roll for every full term served in that career, and you had 1, 2, 3 years in the Navy, so you will get 3 rolls on the benefit table.
Okay.
And then you also get bonuses for your rank, and so you received the rank of Petty Class 3rd Officer, which is rank 2. And so you get 1 additional benefit roll in each career. So you'll actually get 4 benefit rolls in the naval career. And 2 of these can be, you can only roll on the cash column a maximum of 3 times across all your careers. So you get 4 rolls on the, here's the mustering out benefits table. You get 4 rolls on this. Only up to 3 can be on the cash. And so you can tell me I want to do a cash or I want to do a benefit. And so so you get 4 of these.
Okay.
So how do you want to spend your first one? Do you want to try and get cash or do you want an actual benefit?
Oh, I'll do cash.
First one is cash?
Yeah.
Okay, let's roll a d6. And that is a 5, which is going to be 20,000 credits.
Cool.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce your medical debt to 0.
Awesome.
And you're going to take 15,000 credits cash.
Cool.
Now, you've got 3 rolls left. Do you want to do another cash, or do you want to do a regular benefit?
I'll do a regular benefit this time.
So let's roll a d6. And you got a 3, which if we consult the table for the Navy, a 3 is you can get education +1, or you can get some ship shares. And ship shares are basically, it's worth like 1,000,000 credits, but it can't be redeemed for cash. But it's a share in a ship, like owning stock in a ship.
Okay.
So do you want ship shares, or do you want your education to go up by 1? Or sorry, 2 ship shares or +1 education.
And what's my education like?
Right now it's an 8.
I'll take the ship shares.
Okay, so let's do. That might have to go in finance. And I don't think I have an item for ship shares, so let's make one. Let's make a folder. We'll call it benefits. I'll change the color later. Let's make an item here, and we'll call this a general item and ship share. And we'll just change the description. Ship share, value 1,000,000 credits. And we'll give you 2 of those. Okay, you got 2 more rolls on the table. Do you want to take cash or take a benefit?
I will do cash this time.
And this time you get a 5. That's another big one. That's another 20,000. Ooh, if it had been a benefit, it would have been a Traveler's Aid Society membership.
Dang.
That would have been nice. So 20, that puts you at 35,000 cash. And your last roll.
I will do a benefit for the last roll.
And you get a 6, which is a ship's boat or 2 additional ship shares. A ship's boat is like a small vessel that like a tender if you were cruising. Something you could move from ship to ship or ship to shore. So you receive a ship's boat or other small craft. It's a limit of 10,000,000 credits in tech level 12. Or you can take 2 more ship shares.
What would you recommend?
Well, the ship's boat can't jump. It doesn't have
Right.
jump drive, but the ship shares do. And you can use those, like if you guys get a ship, to like pay for repairs or improvements, or maybe you own a big bulk of a ship.
Okay. I'll do ship shares then.
Okay, so you have 4 ship shares. There's not a quantity on. Oh, there is. 4. That's what I need. 4 ship shares. Okay, so let's lock your UPP. Let's look at your history. We can call this your term 1, failed school, injured as a drifter, term 2, we can call this drafted into the Navy. Made an enemy. Make this look a little better. Term 3. Rising up the ladder in the Navy. Failed to advance. Time to seek my own fortune. Okay, and we've got your enemy there. So that is essentially your character. Now, we're not technically done because some of this will have to do with the other players, but you will you'll get a chance to gain. There's some skills packages that the whole group will choose from, and then you can also get some connections where you make a connection with one of the other players, and you can each gain a skill based on that connection and the time that you have spent together. The last thing we need to do is give your traveler a name, and I'm going to assume that you're human. Let's change that to human. Are you male or female?
Male.
And what is your character's name?
Ellis Rhoades.
2 L's?
Yeah.
Is it Roades or is there an H in there?
There's an H in there. Make it cooler.
So Hodes or Hoades?
Ades.
Ellis Rhoades. Excellent. We will come up with a photo for Ellis Rhoades.
Awesome.
Let's change this. Hopefully you're friendly. There we go. Ellis Rhoades. Perfect. So life didn't go how you had planned, but you came out okay.
I worked it out.
You ended up, you've got a little bit of skill in athletics, a little bit of skill as a diplomat. You are a capable flyer of like small craft. You have mechanic skills. You can hold your own in a fist fight or with a blade or a club. You can also pilot a small craft or even a spacecraft. You're decent with recon and with stealth and streetwise and survival, and you're skilled wearing a vac suit. So all in all, not too bad. And again, you will get some more skills when we join the other players, but there is Ellis Rhoades. Now, hopefully we didn't make any mistakes. Traveler, the whole experience, it's kind of a mini game, and I'm going to go back through and just make sure we didn't miss anything. But for all intents and purposes, that's how it goes. So, what did you think, Miss Pick, of this experience?
Well, it was definitely fun. It got a little rocky at times. I became a space bum, but it all worked out for me.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, I'm going to go ahead and sign off then, and hopefully we'll see Ellis Rhoades in a game in the future very soon.